in this episode.
You know, it was like this manly man that I looked up to, and then all of a sudden he was like, he was in this vulnerable, humiliating position, and I felt horrible. It scarred me, and so I was always like, man, I better make sure I'm always knocking on the bathroom door.
Welcome. You're listening to Paleo Cheese Podcast, episode 40, The Dangers of Virtual Reality and the Most Popular Phobias.
Hello, everybody. I am Chad Lutzke.
And I'm Jeremiah Bannister.
And you are listening and or watching Paleo Cheese Podcast. We're part of the Project Entertainment Network.
Yeah.
And this episode, we're kicking back again to no guest. Shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
And you are bringing some amazing topics.
Oh no. Now I know why you wanted to wait. I
wanted to wait because you didn't have confidence in your topic. So very quickly I thought of one, and I was going to run my topic by you and see if you thought, yeah, let's go with that before you even gave me your three. My topic was, I found a list because I really like your idea of the lists. I found a list of the top most popular fears or phobias that people have.
Dude, I would say go with that. I'll still go through these because it kind of overlaps with something I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
And that was one of my ideas, but I was like, did we already talk about our phobias and stuff? Although, dude, I've got one now. I've got one that's wrecking my sleep, dude. Yeah. I saw something I shouldn't have seen. It's a video game too. Anyway, so okay, here's my topics though, Chad. And then we can talk about the video game because I'm telling you, bro, this is another level. So okay. One of the topics, and remember, I'm not very confident in any of these, but the first one would have been planes, trains, boats, or automobiles. Like, have you traveled in any? Right? I've been in all of them, and I thought that'd be fun. Yeah, bad. Nobody's going to be like planes, trains, but I figured we might be able to say planes, trains, and automobiles, and people would be like, oh, yeah, the movie. And we're like, we got you. We're not talking about that. It's one of my favorite, though. If you didn't have this career, which would you choose? Right?
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. What is next in horror? That's the third one.
Okay. That's
talents and skills, habits and goals. Like, that's more like personal, though. But it's still, you know, we've talked about writing and we've talked about other stuff like that. And then one was just about social media. But I figured it'd be a little controversial. So we're going to stay away from that. I don't want to say too much. So I'm like, well, okay. But I figured that what is the next in horror? When you said, you know, things that people are scared of, it kind of reminds me of that. My son right now, he's practicing for a horror film. He's in the back screaming. he's found his voice. He found his voice a while ago, but it's at that place now where he's found his sentences. So now it's just blah, 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 and he'll string together. Sometimes you want him to talk and say like full blown paragraphs. Just get him angry. Get him angry where he wants something, and he's like, you know, upset at an injustice. Have one of the kids grab one of his toys. Next thing you know, the guy's just, you know, off to the races, full paragraphs. You're like, you talk like that more, bro. So, but the fear thing, you know, that was something relevant even recently for me. And I've been thinking a lot about, you know, because I told you I watched the video about the horror cycle. John Hess, the guy who talked about it, got a great show, filmmaker IQ. And it just made me think about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. And so when the idea of what is the next kind of horror, you know, we've touched on that a little bit. You know, you said you thought that we'd come to kind of an end maybe of like the zombie stuff. I don't know, maybe I got you wrong on that, but I thought I remembered hearing you say that before.
It may have been a hope of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll go with the phobias then. That way you can talk about your thing that spooked you. But I do like a couple of those things, and I think they would make for a good conversation.
Yeah, we can put them on the list. You know,
I hadn't looked at this list, by the way.
Yeah, no, you had not.
I just have it up. I have it up. I haven't looked at any of the.
Oh, you haven't looked at the list of the phobias?
No.
Oh, dang, dude. Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah. Well, I put it out there, man, that I'm like, I got all sorts of them. I got all sorts of them, which is why it's funny if I just sit down and watch a scary movie by myself. Although I learned recently, I thought I could watch what I was watching as a video game. And I learned that video games, dude, modern video games, you can't just assume that, oh, it's spooky like Castlevania. And it's like, no. Yeah. This is turn the lights on right now. So,
have you ever played a video game like that using virtual reality?
No, dude. I only played virtual reality for the first time a couple months ago. There's my buddy is a heart surgeon here in town, and for a children's hospital, and or heart doctor. He's not a surgeon, he's a heart doctor. And his son had a birthday party. Ambrose, one of his buddies. So we went. It was a VR place. There are members there and stuff. And
so you got a chance to play it,
dude. Well, I played one that's like it's like you look like you got a lightsaber, but you're really playing drums. It's kind of like the fruit slicer game and stuff. But then I played one, dude, that's outer space, bro, where you're kind of flipping out, man. You're swirling around, you're looking all over the place. You're floating slowly away and trying to grab for things. And I'm like,
did you get nauseous?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got totally nauseous for a second. It went away. Yeah, I got some weird thoughts about VR though, man. Like I don't know. What's the one movie with Bruce Willis where they're inside of a little capsule living life in this fake world, and then they, the VR
I haven't
world.
Seen it when I know what you're talking about.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's the vision I see of the future. I mean, I think that's like predictive programming. I say, we're all going there. We're all following the path of hard nipple Zuckerberg. We're all doing it.
I do see an eventual like 12-step program needed for this kind of stuff in the future for gaming. Yeah. I mean, I know that they already have like. Not in every town or anything. I know they already have like 12-step programs for like World of Warcraft and stuff, because people get involved in those games. They get so wrapped up that they just forget about everything else: eating, sleeping, work. Yeah. So I think that when the games get to the point, because when I grew up, games were not addictive, man. They were just like something that you had fun with for a half hour to an hour.
Yeah,
there was just no way you could get addicted to the games that I played growing up on the Atari. But through the years, especially when you start dealing with people online, and you're you don't have to have a friend coming over to play with someone. These MMORPGs are they're so accessible, and a lot of them are free now. And there's so many of them, and people just get so wrapped up. I can see, just like back in the day, not everybody had a computer. And if you had a computer, it was like, wow, you were kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But now everybody has a computer in their pocket, playing with incredible graphics on there. You can watch a movie, you can read a book, you can, take pictures and alter them or whatever, make a whole film. And all of the video games have killer graphics on them too. So when we reach a point where it's virtual reality worlds, where you're completely engulfed in the graphics they have now for them are good, but they're not what they're going to be, where you are truly engulfed in a different world. Yeah. And with that is an eventual, probably very dangerous pornography and or sex addiction that I think will come along with that too.
It's like Black Mirror, man.
Maybe even to the point of I do worry about like feeding the pedophiles, and will it become legal to have like maybe a character selection screen where you choose the size and some pervert chooses this 9-year-old girl form? I know it's a little dark, but
no, I totally see it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. But, I believe it's coming. I believe it's coming, and we're all wrapped up in it, like so bedazzled and bewitched by the whole thing that it's like, well, yeah, I mean, we'll rationalize almost anything. Yeah. It'll get to the place, where it's kind of funny. I mean, it took a long time for people to start getting serious about like, Joe Cool, but it got to the place where there was enough people not smoking that you didn't have enough people excusing things because of their addictions, right? And that's aside from the idea of whether or not they should have banned Joe Cool at all. but the idea that the conversation even came up, enough people had already figured out, smoking is not healthy for you. The doctor at Chesterfield might be telling you to have a cigarette a day. It keeps the doctor away, but we don't believe that. Otherwise, why am I coughing my brains out? It doesn't sound good. I got phlegm in my throat now. My teeth are yellow. Yeah. So, I got gum disease, and what's this cancer? And so, we're not there with video games or anything, but that's one of the fears I've got too, man, is technocracy. And where are we going with this? I mean, I envision the day and age of a lot of people doing sex robots and junk.
For sure.
Oh yeah, straight up. Like, I think my kids are going to have to, if they expand out and they travel or they go to school anywhere, or, because of their work or whatever, and begin to get outside the bubble here, that they're going to meet people who are like, oh yeah, here's my, sex robot partner, whatever. And they're going to have to be able to have a reasonable conversation with that person. And, so.
I saw a documentary, I think it's on YouTube, and I can't remember what it's called, but it went through over, I think, 4 different stories of men who are, have relationships with their sex dolls. We're talking like the super kind of ultra realistic dolls.
Yeah.
And it was sad.
Totally.
These guys, it was sad. It was strange documentary, and I can see, dude, all of that, sex robots, virtual reality sex, and of course, what I was talking about earlier. Will there be a law where you can't, will you be able to get a program or a game that allows you to create those kind of characters that, like I said, like underage characters and stuff? Yeah. I would assume you can, because the fact that they have, what is this? What is that called? The hensha or henesha or what is it?
Hentai?
Yeah. They have that. Isn't that loaded with, aren't those created specifically to look like young girls?
I'm assuming so, but I never watched it, believe it or not.
Me neither, so, but I know the word, and I've seen pictures, and they all look the same.
So much of Asian pop culture is that. I mean,
so much of Asian is sexualized, no matter what it is.
Totally, yeah.
Japan particularly.
Yeah. Even K-pop and stuff.
No offense to our Japanese listeners.
My wife is half Korean, and she loves K-pop. So I mean, I'm not, if I'm stepping on toes, it's the one I'm going to bed with. I'm going to be in some trouble. She'd be like, well, she used to argue that K-pop is like much better than American pop, right? And like, we're talking on a moral scale and stuff. And I said, it won't take long. I said, it's just starting. I said, just wait. The more commercialized it gets, I said, they're primed big time. I mean, it's, it's almost like a culture that everybody's kind of into the Catholic schoolgirl with the skimpy dress sort of thing, but it's like dressing up as little kids and the high pitched squeaky thing, and so there's a lot of that. But
when I say sexualized over there, I mean like sexualized, dude, like the game shows and stuff that they have, where they're like,
I've only seen Running Man.
What? No, that's not. What?
No, it's a show.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
What's that? You're not talking about the Arnold?
No, I'm not talking about Arnold. Yeah, I think it's called Running Man. I think hold on a second, man. I'm gonna actually get my wife.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. No, dude, I'm talking about stuff where like,
she has to confirm this, dude. Because if it's not Running Man, I don't want people to. What's the name of that Korean game show you like?
Running Man.
Wham! Yeah, Running Man. It's
dude,
good.
I'm talking about like where there's nudity and stuff, where men are putting their faces in boobs and trying to guess whose boobs are their wives and stuff like that, or smelling their butts and stuff like that.
That's a funny one though, dude. You got to admit that was hilarious. I know what you're talking about. Where there's
ridiculous.
It's all dark, and you have to like go to each little box, and the one had the butt cheeks right next to it. That's come on.
Now I don't know if it's like prime time stuff or if it's something you got to get on DVD. I don't know what their laws are over there for nudity. I don't know if it's like I think France can have nudity too and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. But so, what was this game that you played that scared you?
Is it AKA? Is it Maruto? Hold on.
I don't know.
Oh, dude, I will look this up, man. I got to get it just right. Hold on. AKA Let's see. Manto, Manto, M-A-N-T-O.
Okay.
Brother, it's based on an urban legend, right? Of this lady.
Japanese?
I thought it was Korean, but
it's Asian, though. Okay.
Yeah, it's Asian. I'm looking up right now. A.K. Manto. How do you pronounce this word? Anyway, so let's see. It's AKA Red Cape or Red Mantle, Japanese urban legend, right? About a masked spirit who wears a red cloak. And it literally scares the living crap out of you. That's basically it, right? It's even worse. It haunts people in public toilets.
What's the lore behind that?
I don't know, but I'm telling you. Okay, so my cousin Derek, he's a gamer guy. His kid is a gamer, and he made, so my nephew Michael makes games. He has a Twitch, and so he's live streaming with his buddies and does some stuff, like he likes Halo, so you'll see him play Halo. He likes playing a lot of these games. Yeah. Well, dude, he was playing this one, and I saw this, and I think he has it actually on YouTube. Maybe I'll put it in the description down below on YouTube as well as on Acast. But this video, man, you're in public, a public area that has bathrooms. It's got the whole row with the doors and stuff, and you're waiting in like a super dark, and all you've got is a match. So where you're walking and you're looking around, there's cobwebs and it's super dark everywhere.
So it's loaded with jump scares,
bro. Well, I don't know about jump scares. I just know the cloaked figure, this chick, super tall, and when she walks by, it sounds like the heartbeat's like boom, 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 and it's like wah, 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 like a psycho sound almost, right?
Yeah.
And dude, I'm telling you, and you try to hide, you're like, ah, and you're running as fast as you can to hide, and the screen is like blinking like red, like blood, like dude. I was watching that bugger downstairs by myself, and first with the kids, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh, your cousin's making some games. Lo and behold, that's what he was playing. I said, ah. So we're watching it. Ambrose said, he's like, Papa, I can't watch this anymore. This is too scary. I'm like thinking, oh no, this isn't scary. And I made a joke saying I would love to try playing this game at 3 a.m. by myself, turn off the lights, everybody's asleep, 3 a.m. Papa Bear turns on the game and plays it just for fun to see. No, dude. I didn't even have to play it. I went upstairs to go to bed that night. I'm laying down and I hear this little noise. We got this door that goes up to the attic, and I hear this noise, and immediately I'm like, huh, and I like look up, and I'm like looking at the door, and I'm in that state where you're like kind of going to sleep and kind of awake.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for that freaking ghosty chick to come out and be like, rah! I'm like, no. So, dude, I went back to sleep, and it happened again. It happened like 3 times, man. So then the next day I go downstairs, and I'm down, and it's super late, like way past bedtime. I'm by myself. The lights most of them are off. And I had my green screen downstairs. I had my green screen to the side. So I'm kind of like in this cube, right? It's an artificial barrier here, wall, and I can't see the rest of the basement. And I'm sitting there. So the only way to get into this little area is to walk on the far end of the green screen, which is like a little door almost. And dude, it's behind me. And I keep like looking back, and I'm like, and I look over, and I'm like, I can't see what's on the other side. I got up, I moved the green screen because I was so nervous about it, man. I moved the whole green screen just so I could see if the red cloak ghosty man was going to come get me. And I said, I don't know if I could function, man. If I played that game for real, I'll still try it.
That would get us some views, man.
Dude, yeah.
Watching you play a game like that.
I'd have to bleep it out because I just have a feeling, because I swear. I don't swear tons, but I do say some words. And so, but I try not to on the show, ever. And on the show I used to host, I didn't either. And so I just have a feeling, dude, watching this with a jump scare, that it's just going to come out, and I'm just going to say something, dude. I'll have to beep it out for the kiddies,
My son plays those all the time, Nakota.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go through these top 10 phobias that are on medicinenet.com.
Medicine Net. Oh, so this is like, it's online. Yeah. It seems it's kind of legit.
Legitimate website.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so number 10 is triskaidekaphobia, which is an extreme fear related to the number 13.
Okay, hold on. I'm going back. I'm going to number 10. All right. Yeah. Wow.
A superstition.
Basically. Triskaidekaphobia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Triskaidekaphobia.
Extreme fear related to the number 13.
No way. Yeah, no way.
I was born on Friday the 13th, so I feel like I can't have, I'm not allowed to have that.
You were really born on Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, wow, man. All the stars have come together all of a sudden for me. Like each little piece is a constellation, dude. It helps me understand you. Yeah, of course. If I bet if I was born on Christmas, well, I don't know if I was born on Christmas, if I would love Christmas, I'd probably grow to hate it. No, but Friday the 13th makes sense, dude.
Friday the 13th, and it was the same day I was born. Black Sabbath released their very first album.
Dude, really?
Yep. Creepy album. Yep. So yeah, I was destined to love horror.
The only thing I know having to do with something in pop culture with my birthday is that the Bee Gees. Yeah, the Bee Gees had the number one song in the country, dude, with Night Fever. And if people listen to it, that's probably the song that was bumping, dude, in my heart when I came out, because that's what I feel.
I remember spinning that, dude, when I was about 8. My mom had the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, man, and it's loaded with Bee Gees songs. The whole soundtrack was awesome.
Dude, you were probably listening to that when I was born.
Probably.
That's exactly what you were doing.
As a matter of fact, I remember that's what I was doing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, man. Yep. Oh. So okay, I'm not afraid of the number 13, dude. It's one of my favorite numbers.
I have a slight superstition, not anything like, I avoid it. I'm aware of it. I think there's an awareness there. It's not like if I see the number, I have an awareness of it. It's not like looking at 13? The number 8 or something. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I just have an awareness. Just like there are certain numbers that I have an awareness for, like the number 6 or the number 7 or the number 13.
See, 6 doesn't get me. 7, 13, 17, 23, 27, 33, 37. And then in the 40s, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like,
there are plenty of numbers that have to do that I kind of associate with different things, but I would say that 13 is it's not a fear, but it's something that, like I said, I'm aware of when I see it.
3, 7, 9. I'm probably gonna get all accused of like being some kind of Illuminati gematria thing. They're gonna be like look at the numbers he's pulling out, say I don't know, I like those numbers.
Or they'll just call you OCD.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Maybe that's my thing. Maybe that's why I have a So okay, number 9 is phasmophobia. It's the fear of ghosts, and it is quite a common fear, it says. A fear of ghosts.
Yeah, phasmophobia. I'm phasmophobic. A little eaters. Little eaters.
It feels like one of those fears where it's like, I don't know. Is it really a fear? Like, I don't want to get hit by a car and die. Does that mean I have a phobia of, you know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if there were ghosts, wouldn't you be just naturally
a little afraid?
Just like you would naturally be afraid of getting hit by a car. That doesn't mean you have a phobia of it.
It's a different kind though, right? Like, C.S. Lewis talks about, I don't know if it's fear. I think it is though. He says, if you were told that there was a spirit in a room, right? And then if you were told that there was a tiger, the kinds of fear that you would experience would be different. Like, that's philosophically speaking. So I forget what it's in. I don't know if it's in The Problem of Pain or Miracles. I don't remember which one. But he was talking about fear.
I think with the spirit, you would have to, first of all, you would have to absolutely believe 100% without a shadow of a doubt. Whereas with the tiger, you would believe, and you would know that there's a high chance this will end violently and badly.
But are you saying that there's like, if it was confirmed that in fact there was a spirit, not just that you were told, because someone could go, well, no, I don't believe that. But if they're like, it's verifiably true, you're going to walk through the door and there's a spirit for real in that room.
Tigers have a history of eating meat and eating humans. So ghosts don't. The ghost thing is more of like a fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. You know what's probably going to happen with the tiger, because there's you know.
But I've heard ghosts can scratch. Remember? I mean, there's that. I've seen news reports, dude.
I can stand outside your door and scratch. Does that mean
they're gonna scratch you? You're like, ow! You're like, that itches. Like, that stings a little. Like if you put salt on a little wound or something.
You're talking about that nutty lady that
yeah,
where the cameraman got
scratched.
He doesn't want you here.
Yeah,
you're talking about that one.
Yeah, because you're getting the story out.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, how'd you know that? Like, what if he just didn't clip his nails recently and bumped into you or something?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but no, I am a little bit spooked, right, by the ghost a little. Obviously, man, I was scared that maybe that Manitou or whatever the crap was going to come through the door, and so I got at least a little. It takes a lot though. I'm not just like scared in general. I mean, I can watch a lot of movies, ghost movies and stuff. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And that doesn't spook me. I watch tons of the ghost shows. I used to watch them all the time. And I didn't get scared. I was more interested to see if there was ever going to be one time where I'd be like, you know what? That's pretty unbelievable. And I got really bored holding out for that. So.
All right.
Yeah.
How about, let's see, number 8, emetophobia. This is the fear of vomiting. This makes a person unnaturally afraid of vomiting, especially in public. I've heard of this, and I think I've known some people like that. Actually, I do know someone like that. Fear of vomiting. Vomiting is no fun, man. Makes your eyes water, your throat burn. If it gets in your nose, that burns too. And it puts you out of commission, kind of. But I think that the fear probably stems from losing control of your functions, of your body.
Yeah.
And the embarrassment, like it says here, especially in public, that was this particular person's fear, is they were afraid they're going to crap their pants in public or vomit in public.
Yeah. I've never been afraid of that, but I'm pretty controlled when it comes to puking. Like, I mean, for real, I've actually had to teach my kids, because they get scared when they're puking, if they get sick. Their belly's all sick and stuff, and they're like, "Oh no, I gotta puke!" And they're all like, "Papa, hurry, come in here!" And I'm like, "Okay." Yeah. So I go in and I calm them down. I'm like, "Look, you have to control this. Like, you have to."
It is scary for kids, because they can. You feel like also like you can't catch your breath, and when you do, it's like it's acidic, and it's hard to catch your breath with something like that.
Yeah.
So I get that, especially for kids. Yeah, I remember. I think it was Nakota. He was always afraid of that, because I think it happened once when he was young, and I think that was his experience. It was like, loss of control, can't it hurts, and you can't breathe, especially if you're violently vomiting.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to catch your breath, and it's scary, because you're like, man, so he did develop kind of a fear, and so when he would get sick and nauseous and felt like he was going to puke, I would just try and remind him, listen, man, if you do, that's like the beginning of healing here. You're probably going to feel better. And I remember I had countless times getting way too drunk or stoned even, and making myself puke, feeling so much better, to the point where I would grab another brew or, another glass of what I was drinking and get back to partying. But
yeah, dude, that's what it was with me. It was drugs and alcohol that I puked so much that I just got into the place where I'm like, I've got to control it. Like, I have to be in the mental zone, like Wim Hof in this thing. But now I know that if I ever get to the point where it is hard for me to breathe, then that's actually something that's worrisome at that point, because I'm so good at puking now that I'm really good at puking, and I control myself. I get it out. I kind of joke and say, yeah, I'm going to puke right now. Here we go. And you let it go. And then you're done. You're focused and, not overwhelmed. Cause I think a lot of it's just the fact that internally people are overwhelmed and they're straining so hard, and seeing stars and stuff, that if you're letting it happen and you're like focused on breathing when you can, and knowing that most of the time you'll be able to breathe soon, that as long as you keep that under control. But then again, I mean, there's weird situations, man. I want to give somebody, the idea. They're like, oh, hey, I if I get drunk, I just puke and I'll be better. Because I'll tell you, man, I just learned. I didn't know. I knew that the lady from the Cranberries died, but I didn't know that she died of drowning, where she was drunk and drowned.
Right.
Yeah, right. I didn't know this, and so I just found this out this week. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's sad. No, not to say that puking is the answer to getting drunk and fixing your
these are Chad's tips. Yeah, he's like, you want to drink some more? Just puke. You're good.
Keep partying. if that bad trip you're on gets a little too hardcore, just puke and you'll be all right. No, I do have a puking story, and it's the last time I ever puked as a result of being sick. When I was 13 or 14, and I was with our mutual friend Joe Dewey. Yeah. And he had invited me through his church, St. Phil, to go to Echo Valley. And for those not familiar with Echo Valley, it is a kind of like a winter park where you jump in a toboggan, you wait in a long line like it's some ride, and you jump in a toboggan, and there are several almost like bobsledding runs on this thing at the top of this really large hill, and all of these runs are heavily iced over. And so when you drop on the toboggan, they usually load the toboggan with like 4 or 5 people. It's a really long wooden toboggan with no sides or anything. But once you go, you end up going about 65 miles an hour, and you go down the hill and under a bridge.
Holy cow.
And then it starts to turn. You never been to Echo Valley?
Dude, no. That's one of the few. It's on my bucket list in life because everybody, and it's always youth group, dude.
Yeah, and you got to be careful of your feet, and your knees, and your hands, your elbows, because like I said, there's no sides. If you wanted to destroy yourself, you could easily do it.
Yeah,
gotta So I get this thing, like same with Cedar Point and Walt Disney World, where I get that anticipatory anxiety when waiting in line of a big ride.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're waiting there for 45 minutes and every, 5 minutes, all you hear is screams of terror.
Yeah.
and then you're slowly approaching that terror yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's this buildup. And so when I went to Echo Valley, there was a lot of that, so we would wait in line, and then we would do our thing, and then we come back and do that. Well, they had, it was loaded. There was a ton of people there. It wasn't just from his church. I mean, it's packed full of people. And so when I had to use the bathroom, and I have never been comfortable with, I'm like what you would call a private pooper, I guess you'd say. Like, if I'm at school, I'm holding it. I don't care how painful it gets. I'm not going to school. When I went to high school, they didn't have stall doors anyway.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any kind of sense. But so yeah.
It's like the Navy. Yeah, they didn't either.
I pee all day. But pooping for me, for whatever reason, is just like this private thing. Like even with my wife or
you're like, get out of here.
I'm not gonna go anywhere here. Really? If she can hear me or see me sitting in that vulnerable position, I'm not doing it. I'm very private like that. I mean, I will piss in front
You're
of
like a cat.
Like a cat. Piss in front of anyone.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. I don't care. But yeah, you're sitting there like you're in this vulnerable position, very humbling, very humiliating.
Wow.
And you got your elbows on your naked thighs, and you just man. Matter of fact, when I was at one of my friend's house, staying the weekend with him, I walked in on his dad in that position, and it scarred me so hardcore, dude, because I felt so guilty and so embarrassed for him that because he just it was like a deer in the headlights, and he was in that position. It was like this manly man that I looked up to, and then all of a sudden he was like, He was in this vulnerable, humiliating position, and I felt horrible. It scarred me, and so I was always like, man, I better make sure I'm always knocking on the bathroom door.
See, I can imagine, dude, if he's like. And he's like pushing, dude, and like veins are popping out. But if a guy just goes, what? And looks over, that's not vulnerable, dude. But I mean,
dude, that's how I saw it.
But if you're like toes pushing against, something, and you're like, where it's like pushing up against the back of the toilet, and you're
yeah, like if you're at the bowling, if you're at the bowling, I'm also like, you would never find me like at the mall or the bowling alley, being the guy that's in the stall, even though you can't see me and I can't see you. Being this guy in the stall that's grunting and making really loud noises when my, crap hits the water and, that tabloosh and stuff.
Yeah.
So whenever I go into a bathroom like that and I hear someone straining and grunting and making, because I assume that you can stop that. You don't have to grunt like that. You can still use your muscles and stuff, but some of these dudes are just like,
yeah, but they're all like 60, dude.
Yeah, but dude,
I know the type, man.
I'm like having to have some dignity, man.
Yeah.
I guess I got too much pride, man. I don't know. I can't. I'm too vain, I guess.
Oh, dude.
But anyway, back to my puking story.
That's my puking story.
No, I said back to my puking story.
Oh, back to it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
There's this public restroom they have,
Yeah.
And I had to go so bad, and it was because of the buildup. Because, dude, when I get nervous, when I was younger, I would like be standing in line. I'd be farting all for the half hour I'm standing there just farting. And so all this stuff is building up in me. And I'm in the bathroom, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't go number 2 in here, man. There's just no way I'm doing it. Yeah. And then I remember at one point I tried, because people are going in and out of the bathroom. I didn't want anyone to see me in that vulnerable position. What?
You tried.
Dude, I mean, like,
were there doors? So you're like, anybody see your vulnerable position, you'd lock that door.
I'd be standing there. Then everyone would clear out, and I run for the stall. And I remember I tried going a little bit, like I let loose a little. And then I hurried up because someone was coming. And then I hurried up. I wiped or whatever, got my pants back up. It wasn't done. And so I spent the rest of the time there miserable because of my nerves and the fact that I could not go to the bathroom. So
aren't you actually creating a more vulnerable situation? Like if you're like holding it in, you're like,
yeah. So we're on the bus. Going back home after the Saco Valley thing. Still haven't gone, other than that little, leak I let happen. Just for like a ninja poop, I guess you'd call it. And so I'm in there, and the bus has a couple hot chicks on it that I went to school with, and they must have been invited to go to the St. Phil thing. So I was talking to Joe, and I said, "Dude, I don't feel so," and that's about all I could get out, and I just layered that bus with vomit, dude. And it went down in the grooved tracks in the center of a bus. It got stuck in there, and the girls were like 2 or 3 seats ahead of us, and everybody saw me puke and heard it. And then the girls were like, how you were talking about when you crapped your pants on Gabriel, in front of Gabriel, and what's her name?
I'll never forget it. Yeah.
Well, that's how it was. You're like, ew. And particularly these 2 hot chicks, and the vomit is caught in the grooves and like slowly like going toward the front of the bus in the grooves toward them, and they're like, it's getting closer. Ew. Dude,
you're like playing the whole thing.
I should have just crapped in the thing.
You should have, yes, you should have gone in there and just poop, dude.
Little did I know how humiliated I actually would be. So later on, and I'm assuming it's because I refused to poop.
Dude, the anxiety you were going through is probably immense. I mean, you probably internally, in the mind, psychologically, physiologically, the anxiety was just crushing.
Yeah. So change my emetophobia to pooping in public phobia, I guess. Because it's not happening.
Pooping in public phobia. Yeah.
It's not happening. All right. Number 7, carcinophobia. This is the fear of developing cancer, which people tend to correlate every new symptom with cancer. For example, every headache is a brain tumor. That kind of falls under the what do they call them? God darn it, what's the word? Hypochondriac kind of class of people who think that ironically the same person that I know who is afraid to crap their pants or puke in public is also a hypochondriac big time.
I used to have that fear, you know, and then I mean I remember, I'd look up any symptom I had, was like if I had something, I'd look it up and I would see, oh my gosh, cancer's on the list. It's a bad idea. Yeah. And so, but I've actually gotten a little bit better at it to understand like how to weed things out, kind of what doctors are looking for. And so, but the thing is that, once my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, once my sister was diagnosed with cancer, all of a sudden I had to start studying cancer. Sure. So the more I studied cancer, I was like, well, okay, here are things to look out for. Like I recently called the doctor about moles that I have. Mm-hmm. None of them are appearing cancerous, but they are the oddball out, right? They're the ones that the colors are different. It's not, it's kind of misshapen a little bit. They would be the kind that they would be desiring to take off. Right. And say, we should probably just get rid of that one, for potential future issues and stuff. So, but I used to be always nervous about that kind of thing. And, I had issues with acid reflux for a while. I was having issues with that, and I would have anxiety issues. And so when I would thinking stuff's cancer makes it even worse. You really start thinking, I recently had, what is it? Pitted edema. Mm-hmm. That sucked. Watery, it's like swollen feet and you press down on it and it stays like Play-Doh. Yeah. That junk it's spooky, man. I go in, they do blood work and they're like, hey man, you got your kidneys, your liver, everything is just awesome. There's no indication that there's like platelets are off or anything like that. And they're like, actually, you seem pretty healthy overall. They're like, but you're getting older. You were sitting down for hours and hours at a time. And there's a possibility, Raynaud phenomenon stuff that could be affecting this. So they said, I didn't even need diuretics. They said they weren't even going to give me a water pill to get rid of it. They said, just elevate it above your heart, exercise, just keep, if it happens, do some walking around, stand up, don't sit down for hours at a time, stand up, walk around, and keep working on stuff to get your circulation better for your blood, also for the Raynaud's. So, but that spooked me. Right. That was the first time in a long time where I started wondering underlying condition, but I wasn't even thinking cancer. I was thinking, is it a heart problem? Is it a kidney failure? That kind of thing. But I've kind of gotten over that. And actually it's the last time, because I used to constantly, I've been in the hospital so many times, and they'd check me and they'd put me on little sticky things at the VA to see, what's going on with me. And every time it was something to do with my consumption of caffeine, or like I used to drink ridiculous amounts of caffeine, or that it was just, anxiety, and it wasn't any other physiological reason for that. And I've even had a CT scan done and stuff. I mean, it was all sorts of craziness that happened with me for that. But the last time it ever happened, I was having an anxiety attack and I was at the house, and I used to always think when I was having an anxiety attack that I was having a heart attack. That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's common. Yeah, it's common. So I'm standing outside in the doorway, the door's open, and I'm all keeled over. I can't even like stand up. I'm kind of like keeled over at the waist. I got my hands on my knees and I'm freaking out, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, my world's ending. And I used to have my wife, because my brain was reeling so fast in those moments that I would try to check my heart rate. My heart rate would be elevated, sometimes a lot. but I could
Which
never
would make it even elevated even more when you
check it, and then you're checking over and over and over. Is it still there? Is it still there? Mm-hmm. Which is just a vicious cycle. Yeah. So I remember reaching my arm out, pleading with my wife to check my heart rate, and she looked at me, and this was in the moment was kind of like offensive, but she like looked at me and she's like, and just shook her head and walked off and just left me.
She knows you, man.
She knew it. And I'm sitting there, I have my wrist out like this, and I'm like, what? And I was so offended, like as a man, you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at her like, what? I'm like, you're not going to check my heart rate? I'm like, I'm dying over here. And I'm thinking that in my head. And I'm looking at the door with her not there anymore across the room. She's gone. And I'm looking there, and it just kind of hit me that I'm like, I'm not dying right now. I am not dying. And dude, I've had one panic attack since then. And it was weird trigger conversation about Bob Dylan, strangely enough. And it was just weird, random, but we were talking a lot about other things. My buddy had a stroke and my daughter died, and it was shortly after that. But that was the last time. It wasn't major, but it's bad enough that I went through my ritualistic stuff and all that. But the thing is, since then, I've been way better because I always remember, my wife, what she did that day. And I've also taken responsibility for stuff to get healthier.
She minimized it. Yeah.
She minimized. Well, dude. And it was so, like I said, I felt like it was a slight against me. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, where are you going right now? Kind of thing. I didn't say it out loud. It was all in my head, but it was a real wake up moment for me.
That's cool. Yeah, I think age has a lot to do with that. I wouldn't say I have a fear of developing cancer, but I think for my age, these are things that I think about. I feel a new pain or something or new sensation. I'm like, what is that? I don't fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, I don't like rush to the doctor or anything. And I've had so many strange, bizarre pains that would last for, anywhere from a day to several weeks. And then I wouldn't ever have them again for years and couldn't tell you what they are. And I'm also of I subscribe to the idea that I know that you always hear about the stories where it's like, oh, if he'd just went to the doctor, he'd still be alive. They maybe would have caught the cancer in time and that kind of thing. But I also subscribe to the idea that if you, I think a lot of people, most people can't handle those kind of diagnoses, and they make themselves sicker and shorten their lives and make it near impossible for that to go away. And I'm not saying as long as I don't find out that I'm going to heal myself somehow, but there is, the mind is really, really powerful when it comes to healing. And there's a term for it, and I can't remember what it's called. Something called, I actually was listening to somebody talk about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking about not entertaining these ideas. And there's a term for, I can't remember what it's called. I wish I could. I'm horrible at retaining stuff that I find interesting, unless it's horror or something or music.
But it was saying that, like, was it get to the gist, I guess. Was it saying that if you don't think about it, and if you think positive things,
there was a guy on there there was a guy on there that was giving a story. Now I can't remember if this is Joe's story or the other guy's story. I think it was the other guy's story, and he was talking about how during the pandemic, early on in the pandemic, I think he was told that he was really sick. I can't remember his condition, but he was told that he was sick, and he had this really life-altering thing, very dangerous thing. And he went to the hospital, and they basically, sorry, I was getting interrupted by David Lee Roth. He's always trying to call me and ask me what's up. But he was given a diagnosis, and I can't remember. Like I said, I can't remember what it was, but it was something you do not want to hear, and that essentially, he was going to die. So arrangements were being made and stuff. And then his, because of the pandemic going on, his family also couldn't come in. And so he was suffering a big time as a result of all this. And they also talked about the importance of human communication when you're sick, and human, having that, if you're separated from humans, and how you can we need someone else, to help us, even to heal us, and then he got real sick. He was getting ready to die. I think they gave him not long at all. Like he was going to die in the hospital. Another doctor, for whatever reason, I can't remember why, maybe the family went in there, I think, because they found out, or a family called this other doctor and said, yeah, they won't let us in there and he's dying. He's like, I'm going in there. I'm getting to the bottom of this. The other guy goes in there, checks him out. He's like, you don't have this. You're not dying. Dude, that dude left the hospital in high spirits, within 24 hours.
What?
Everything, all of his symptoms went away. It was like
when he was told that he wasn't sick.
Yeah, when he was told he wasn't sick.
Yeah.
It was like the psychosomatic experience.
Yeah.
And there's a term for that kind of thing, and kind of denying that. And I just feel like I'm not the type of person, I think, that if you told me I had cancer, I'm a pretty, I'm my wife thinks I'm a pessimist, and I always argue that I'm a realist.
Yeah. Every pessimist says that.
Well,
I'm the same way. I say that from experience, brother.
Yeah. So, and maybe there are, pessimistic parts of me in areas that it's truly pessimism, but the examples that she gives, and for the most part, I am just a realist,
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate her optimism. I appreciate everyone's optimism, because we need people like that, even if it's just this false hope thing. Given whatever the circumstances are, but a lot of these, my wife is very optimistic and stuff, and I appreciate that, and I need that. My kids need that. And otherwise it's just a downer to be around somebody who's just a realist or a pessimist. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I'm not the type of person that could, but of course, if you go, we've talked before about not knowing how you're going to react in a situation until you're in there, in that situation. But I would feel, and knowing myself, that it would kind of shut me down, and it would be like accelerating whatever was wrong with me, and making whatever was wrong impossible to get rid of and impossible to get through, and just quicken it, because I would feel regret about life choices, maybe what I did with my life, maybe not being able to get the book out yet that I'm so proud of, or or opportunities coming and I'm not going to be here for it, and not being around for my wife or kids anymore and stuff like that. And I think it would just eat at me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of those things, dude, because of my daughter's story and her message of never give up, keep on smiling. And I need to add this, I can add to it the idea of dream bigger thoughts, finding out what you love and what you want to do before you die, and try to make that a reality today. And if you can't today, make a plan to try to make it a reality.
Yeah.
But also to accept the possibility that, you might be the person dying from cancer who gets in the car to go to the chemo place and ends up getting T-boned by somebody and dying in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Or the guy, you're eating a chicken wing like my buddy, his dad or his brother, where he dies eating on a chicken wing kind of thing. And so because of memento mori, right? Remember death. It's always in front of you. That philosophy, whether Catholic or whether Stoic and stuff like that, the idea being that, you're probably, no matter what, when you do die, especially if you're given a long life and you die a long death, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're going to have these thoughts and these feelings, these regrets, and those are part of the experience. And no matter what you do, you could have a super successful life, and because you're super successful, you might have projects that you started and didn't finish, or that you had planned to start, and you're going to be bummed you couldn't get those either. And so to live the best for today that you can, and so, but I'm with you, dude. That stuff spooks me. And I'm like, I feel like sometimes I only make real big changes if I'm afraid I'm going to die. Like the Saw movie, right? that the idea of, do you truly cherish life? Do you truly cherish it? People don't know about their survival instinct and just how much they love life, how much they wish they could cherish it, how much
are you taking it for granted?
Are you taking it for granted? And actually, it's funny, that movie, strangely enough, the whole series actually had kind of an effect on me in that way, to kind of kick my butt about do I wait until things are super bad to make changes in my life, or do I take responsibility now and make the changes so that I don't ever get, stabbed in the neck from behind by a person in a pig mask and thrown into a crazy game with saws and knives and everything else. Cut off my I promise I'll do better. So I don't want to do that. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and make that today. So
all right, blood, injury, and injection phobias. Injury phobias are generally phobias associated with fear of medical procedures. They may often be associated with fainting and hyperventilation. These include hemophobia, fear of blood, and trypanophobia, fear of receiving an injection. Odontophobia is the fear of visiting a dentist. I don't know why that randomly was put in there, but
okay.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't have that fear, but when I got older, I did. I developed it, and I don't know. Yeah. I think it kind of stemmed from. I went to a dentist once when I was an adult, and they ended up shooting me so that my with the anesthesia, so that my nose went numb, and then I had an itch on my nose, and the itch was constantly there, and I couldn't itch it. There was no itching it,
Yeah.
I would go to itch it, and there's just nothing there. And it drove me nuts, dude, and put me in like a really anxious state. And I couldn't wait until this thing wore off so I could finally itch this itch that I could not reach.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself having these as a phobia more than anyone else. I definitely don't have a fear of blood.
Yeah, no.
Hyperventilation doesn't sound like it would be very fun. I'm not afraid to faint though.
I do Wim Hof every day. So I'm in a controlled hyperventilation every day. Yeah.
Okay. Aerophobia.
But dentistry, I got to say this, dude.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to be scared as a kid of needles, man. Anything to do with needles, I was like, dude, no way. They'd have to hold me down. They'd have nurses come in. I'd scream. It was terrible. And my mom was like, wow. Well, then the dentist was another level. I went to this dentist in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and it was wicked bad. Just the whole experience. And I don't know how much of it's true. I don't want to say too much. I don't know I don't remember the guy's name, but my mom, she told me she always thought I was exaggerating, that because she'd be in the other room, and she's like, man, I always thought maybe he's just exaggerating. She's like, but then I found out, that he was in the paper or whatever. He'd gotten in trouble. His license was being questioned and stuff. Because of stuff that he was doing with kids and everything in there, right, as dentistry. And so, but I don't know any more details beyond what I've been told by my mother.
Yeah.
And so, but growing up, that fear stuck with me forever. And I was so terrified. I would drive, a half an hour to go to the VA to get my teeth done. And I get in the parking lot and my heart's racing, and I just turn right back around and leave. And I'd cry and I'd call them and say, I can't do it. And eventually they tried giving me things like Xanax, right? So I'd go in and they'd give me Xanax, but then I'm so doped out, I'm like falling asleep. I can't even stay awake. I'm so
you're taking
blown
too
out.
much Xanax, it sounds like.
Well, I was just in Klonopin at first. They tried Klonopin and then they gave me some Xanax. So I'm just like so tired. I'm like, ugh. And then eventually nitrous. And so now I go to a doctor where I get nitrous, but here's the thing. It's never so much that I'm like, I can't talk, right? I'm not so loopy I can't function. It's just a small amount. But the thing is, though, is that now I've had it where I went in not long ago and I had to get something done at the VA because the other place was issues with insurance and transitioning from one insurance to another with the VA. So I couldn't go to my normal place at Hudsonville Dental, which is awesome. But then I went to the VA to get it done and they don't have nitrous. And the guy told me, he's like, well, I would take it slow. I would do this. I would do that. And I'm like, just do it. And, the needle in the mouth and the grinding, the noises and hearing stuff and everything, it spooks me out. But I felt like I got a little tense for a moment, but I've been doing that breathing And so I wasn't doing like full blown, I wasn't doing that stuff, but I was slowly, like I was doing box breathing. So 4 seconds in, hold 4 seconds, out 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds in, and just keep going in that pattern like that. And dude, I was super calm, man, calm as a cucumber in there.
Nice.
And but I'm still, I feel like superhuman doing it. I know it's not superhuman, but I feel like it is. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, whoa, yeah, I'm good, and I can do this. But if they're like, hey, you want to just come back here? Then I'd be like, no, I'm going to go over there with the nitrous guy. Like, I'm still going to do that.
I've never had nitrous.
It's weird. You get floaty and stuff, which is there's a little anxiety with me from that. But again, Wim Hof, you feel floaty a little bit, like you're not in control all the way and all that. So that's actually really helped even with that. And so
I heard that nitrous it's a very fast process, the whole procedure. And that when they put you under, the next thing you know, you're done and you're good to go. That's what I heard anyway.
I never go under. So it's just, they put it in your nose.
Even just using the nitrous. That time kind of flies.
It feels like time moves a little quicker. Yeah, you're enjoying yourself and stuff, and it's hard to control like tongue movement. So like move your tongue over to this side, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm trying.
The last time I got a filling, I was like, I'm gonna do the nitrous. Never had it before, so I called this place, made sure they had it, and they did. I think just about everybody does now, but at this point they didn't. And I made a playlist on this MP3 player I had, and I put a whole bunch of metal on there, a bunch of Slayer mainly.
Yeah.
And that was a bad choice, man, because I'm wanting to like relax, I should have put some Sade or some jazz, smooth jazz,
Yanni,
some new age stuff on there. But so I'm sitting there, and they put this thing on over my nose or whatever, and then I'm like, cool, I get to experience this for the first time. Scott Webb always speaks highly of it. So, and nothing was happening, and they're asking me if I felt it and everything, and they're like, no. I said no, and said, all right, we'll be right back. And so they go downstairs or something, and then they come back up and they go, we just ran out. We don't have any more. And dude, I was so pissed, and I just sat there furious while they worked on my tooth, listening to Slayer, wishing I had different music to listen to, because this is not putting me in a good state of mind. And I was so angry with them because I when I called, I made it clear. I was like, I want to go somewhere with nitrous. Do you have a nitrous? Yes. Okay. I'm going to make an appointment. And they failed me, man.
They failed you.
They took care of the tooth, but they failed me in that area. So number 5.
That's when you just ask if you can bring in some whippets.
No.
Yeah, no, you don't. You're like, I got a couple of these canisters over here, and they're like, oh, it's the same thing. We normally just put that in your mouth.
I got some liquid rush. How about that?
So listen, real quick. I think that this topic and this particular this topic, this list, and this particular topic with this, I think it's so good. When we're only through 5. Well, this is number 5. Do you want to split it up and do?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
So do you want to do, actually, is this number 6 or is this number 5?
We're going into number 5. So we've done 5 of them.
We've done 5. Do you want to just, because right now we've had so much fun with this actually, and it's only going to get better. I mean, it's going to, the ones that are like the crazies. So
I don't want to go on too long. We've been going about,
it's been over
hours. So
yeah, we've been recording now for about an hour and 9 minutes. So with editing and stuff, down to about an hour or so.
Yeah.
And so I think I really like this article. I really like this list. I think it's fun.
Down.
All right. Sounds good, dude. See, we'll save the rest of them. So everybody's going to have to tune back in. Yeah. But next week, actually, do we have a guest next week?
Yes, we have the next week's episode is we've really been waiting for.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten on Jason Brandt for months, asking him to please watch Birdemic so that he can come on and watch Birdemic Part 2 with us. So today he watched Birdemic for his So Bad It's Good like video show that he does, which is really cool. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. Just in the search bar on YouTube, So Bad It's Good. And he's doing Birdemic for that, and he's going to watch part 2 with us next. Now I don't know if we're going to watch it together or if we're going to watch Jeremiah and I.
We got to watch it together. Yeah,
for sure. And we'll probably have a little clip at the end if I don't butcher it and toss it all over in the middle and elsewhere. But
dude, you never butcher any of these shows. You never butcher the end.
That one I
really did. But at least you get them up on time. I mean, look, it's a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off.
You told me in the last episode, with I think it was James Newman, that I left off the outro, our farting
and
outro.
you caught the one before that. You caught the
the real butchery. Yeah.
But it's a transition thing. It's a process for Chad. It's elongated. So I mean, it's just a process. Yeah.
To be fair, the one that was butchered, I was up against the wall with a deadline for a really important deadline that I wanted to submit a book to a publisher that is kind of a bucket list thing for me. So I had other deadlines for short stories, and I thought about that a lot. This other time where I left off the intro, our outro rather, was because I've been really good about editing these.
Yeah.
I've been editing them on Sundays, and they're not going to go up for another week. Like, I've had this last episode edited for a week now almost. And the week before, I had that one done for almost a week. Mm-hmm. I will edit this one Sunday, but it's not going up till next Sunday. So there are some minor things that, I probably went and go, this is edited. All I got to do is put on the intro that my wife does and make a thumbnail and toss it on there. And then, so because of that, I left off the outro with Mr. Blaine Cook from The Accused doing his scream and then the fart.
That's like the high point of the show.
Yeah,
it always is. Every episode, the very last sound, they're like, I've been waiting for it. It's catharsis, dude, at the end. Like, the whole show is great, and then it gets to the end and they hear that scream, and then they hear and it's just perfect. It's
Speaking of Blaine, it was just his birthday a couple days ago, so happy belated, Blaine.
Yes, dude, happy birthday, Blaine. Miss that guy. And dude, we're gonna have a recurring guest later on this month. We don't have to say who yet, but we're gonna have a recurring guest. We can say it on the next show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we are.
In fact, that'll be our third recurring guest, but the two often come on together, right, Hunter?
Well, no, it'll be our fourth because Jason Brandt will be our third.
It's true. Recurring. Yep, that's right.
Yeah. We're having two guests on after Jason and you and I talk about Birdemic 2, which I can't wait for. I can't wait to watch Birdemic 2.
Yeah.
Really.
Dude, I've been pumped about it for a long time.
Yes.
I've been super psyched about watching that stinking movie, and I haven't been able to because I'm waiting to see this, and so I haven't even seen the trailer, dude.
No, I'm not watching.
Yeah, I refuse to do it. I'm like, I don't want to see the trailer, and it's I think the only movie is not even close, but it is second place that I really want to see, and I'm not willing to dole out the loot, dude, is Spiral with Chris Rock. I watched the entire. You watched it?
No, I watched the trailer and I laughed all the way through.
It looks junk, dude. The trailer, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and I can't take Chris Rock seriously.
So he's the 13th apostle. How can you not take it seriously?
Every time he's screaming and stuff like that, I'm just like, this does not look good.
He's trying to break out, man. He's trying to do more dramatic stuff,
Yeah, but God bless him.
You got to give him credit. I mean,
I don't believe in pigeonholing, but let's face it. Sometimes there are some people. It is hard to not keep them in that box.
Like Will Ferrell. Like, I love Will Ferrell, but he's kind of like, you see him and you just expect that, But Adam Sandler used to be that.
Yeah, I've seen Will Ferrell in some cool movies. He was in a movie based on a Raymond or a Carver story that I can't remember what it's called, but he's sitting on his lawn, selling his stuff during a yard sale because he'd been kicked out of his house or something. It was a good movie, and it was a drama, kind of a dramedy. But
I must. If I threw him under the bus, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, dude, he's come up with a bunch of good ones," I'd be like, "Oh, crap," But I've always kind of seen him with that. And like I said, Adam Sandler, but Adam Sandler is broken out, from that kind of being pigeonholed sort of thing. Jim Carrey,
sure. Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey is another one, right? But he broke out of that. He was at least doing he was doing different movies they were drama, not just simply kind of another Jim Carrey movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you give these people, but Chris Rock,
that's got to be hard. That's got to be hard to do too, especially for someone like Jim Carrey, who's so physical in his comedy, and he's such a rubber face.
Yeah.
To have that face that we're used to seeing all twisted and contorted, doing, something serious. But yeah, he does a good job. And I was just thinking last night about how I was thinking about typecasting and stuff, and how like Elijah Wood makes excellent decisions on the movies that he chooses to be in.
Yeah,
he does a lot of indie stuff.
What's that horror one he did? Daddy or whatever.
Oh, dude, yeah, I
want to see it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I watched that for the second time last night. My wife hadn't seen it, and I was like, I saw it like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good movie. And don't read about it, or don't read the synopsis or anything.
And he was in Wilbur, dude.
Wilbur
with the dog, where he sees a dog that's in a costume, but everyone else just sees a normal dog, the dog talks to him. Bro, he is so good in that.
He's in the there's a really popular cult film from the 80s, really really gritty grindhouse type of movie called Maniac, and they did a remake of it, and he plays the maniac in it, and he does such a great job. And a lot of people I talk to, and I share this opinion with them, is that the remake is better than the original.
And of course, Lord of the Rings.
But that's what I'm saying. Because he was in Lord of the Rings and such a plate in, all those movies, that he's pretty blessed to be able to do all this other stuff without someone saying, "Oh, that's just Frodo." And not be able to take it seriously. Because when someone goes into a big film like that, it can be hard for them to break out of that. Or
it's like the story. It's not the same thing, but it's the same idea of somebody acting and not being able to break out of it. Adam West, dude, the story of Batman, when he played the role of Batman, that story is actually like tragedy, where he eventually was doing retirement gigs and stuff, going to like high schools, and there'd be 20 people and he's sitting there and people, I mean, it was so tragic because he had been at this height, during that era.
Wasn't he was like the mayor of that city. What is it? Quahog? He was the mayor of that city for a while too.
I was so confused for a second. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, wait, Quahog, what? yeah, he was. And
rock bottom.
He was typecast for so badly for so long. People they could not separate that, and say, well, you're him, you're that guy, and so it's hard for some of these people. So, but yeah. So anyway, exciting stuff. We have really, really, really good shows coming up. People do not want to miss it. And remember, if you want to get in contact with us, it's super easy. Paleo Cheese, PaleoCheeze, Paleo Cheese at Gmail, or at YouTube or Facebook or any of the other places. It's always just Paleo Cheese. If you look it up with the Z in there, the Z, you will find us, and it's going to be a bunch of great fun. Make sure, of course, send all your love and your hate. We don't mind either one. You go ahead and you send that to our email, and we'll do our best to try to get back with you.
All right, peace out.